Many business owners are still really hesitant about this whole AI thing. What is it? Wondering how it's going to fit into their business. Is it just a fad that's going to pass? Is it worth your time? Is it really saving money? It seems like a lot of effort. These are all the things that business owners are contemplating. But I am telling you that if used correctly, AI, one, is absolutely the future. So if you're not using it and you're not planning on using it, you're going to get left behind. That's just the plain simple of it. But there are ways that you can use it to really actually save money, to really improve the efficiency, you improve how you serve your clients, and really help your overall business. So today we're going to really talk about how you can use AI to, one, make more money and make a real financial impact on your business and your operation with AI. Welcome to the Hobby to Profitability podcast. We're all about figuring out what it really takes to build a successful and thriving business. I'm Jacqueline Green, marketing nerd, AI consultant, and entrepreneur who's been through it all. My goal is to help you get the strategies, the tools, and the mindset shift you need to grow your business without the stress and confusion. Every week, we'll dive into real, unfiltered side of entrepreneurship, the mindset shifts, the strategic moves, and the unexpected lessons that come with building a business. We'll talk about what actually works and what doesn't, how to navigate those changes and challenges that you face, and how to create a business that really fits into your life. If you're ready to turn your passion into profit without the overwhelm, you're in the right place. Hey there, welcome back to the Hobby to Profitability. I'm Jacqueline Green, your host of the podcast, and today we're tackling that big question. Can AI actually make your business more profitable? Now, if you haven't heard AI and all the benefits of AI, you're probably living in a hole. No offense. But you also might be hearing the other side of that. AI is going to take over the world and it's going to lose jobs and blah, blah, blah. There's a lot of content and a lot of information out there, some accurate, some not. But here's the honest truth that I believe that AI is here. And as small business owners who are trying to get from that 0 to $1 million, it can really benefit your business in the way that it can do a lot more. You can accomplish more with AI than without it. And I'm going to kind of talk about that a little bit. I'll share a couple little situations, but I can also share with you how we're using it within our company to really help produce more content and improve our efficiency throughout everything that we do. So if you're ready, let's dive into this. So there are a lot of small business owners that are still really hesitant. When I talk to, and I'm constantly talking to business owners, they're like, oh yeah, I played with chat a little. They're not really understanding or taking the time to learn what AI is really going to do for a business and for life itself. There are so many things that we can now do that we couldn't do. There are so many things that are more reachable today with AI from a small business perspective that were not available to us 6 months to a year ago. And so it's changing at such a rapid pace that I feel like it is really elevating the ability of a small business to compete on a more level playing field. Now, let's face it, you don't have the budgets. You struggle with how much money you're spending on this and that, marketing in particular, to really play with the big guys. But there are things that we could be using AI to kind of level that field. So let's really talk about what that means. What is AI's impact directly on revenue and your cost reduction? What does that look like? And we're also going to talk about a couple of case studies, and I'm going to share with you exactly how we're using AI and how it's increased our efficiency within our business and how we can actually produce more. And then we're going to talk about how to implement AI. Where do you even begin? You hear all this stuff, but it's so overwhelming. And yeah, we've all heard about chat. We know chat bots, but what does that all mean? So let's get into it. One, is there a direct correlation with AI that impacts profitability? This is a big misconception about AI, that it's just about automation, and that is not true at all. Or I've also heard it's just about content creation, and that's not it at all. So the truth is that AI is really driving profitability in two different ways. One, it increases revenue. AI is helping businesses attract more customers, improve market performance, and personalize offers that really help convert better. This is something in marketing that has always been a challenge. I've been in marketing my entire career in one way or another. I've worked for ginormous corporations. I've worked for myself as a marketing agency, as a marketing consultant. I've marketed my own businesses. The one thing that is so frustrating about marketing and talking to any person that has used marketing to promote their small businesses, the return on investment is hard to really nail down. It truly is. And I remember the days in corporate where we had executives who were really wanting us to tie numbers into what we were doing. You're spending this much money. And the reason is because marketing typically is one of the, beyond payroll, marketing is one of the largest budgets within a company. And so a lot of times you really struggle to tie back the return on investment. And AI is actually helping us improve that efficiency. And I'm going to talk about that more in just a minute. But when you improve marketing efficiency and you're really targeting your marketing efforts in the right way to the right audience, it's a lot easier to see the impact of that. And you no longer feel like you're wasting time, money, resources on something that may or may not work. Not that you're not still doing some of those things, but it really starts narrowing down that this is going to work or this isn't. It gives us more insight. Now, the next thing that AI is doing is, I said there are two ways to help with profitability. It is reducing costs. So AI is eliminating time-consuming tasks and optimizing how we're spending our time and our money. And it's also improving efficiencies. So this comes down to systems, and I've preached systems forever. One, I love systems because I'm kind of a nerd that way. But systems, if you're growing, if you're a solopreneur, or maybe you have one employee, and you want to grow much larger, one of the biggest challenges that you're going to have to grow is the lack of systems. If you do not have systems in place, then I guarantee that your employees are never going to do it the way you want it to be done. And why is that? Because you never put a system in place to tell them how to do it. They're going to interpret whatever you say, but they're still going to do it the way they're going to do it. And so without those systems to really guide your employees and the people that you bring on, it's going to be basically a madhouse. You're going to have this person doing this and this person doing that, and there's not a system in place. And so we really want to look at that and see, okay, what is that overall system to ensure that every single customer comes through has the exact same experience, that we are collecting the exact same information, that we are giving the exact same information, that everything within the system is going in the method that it's supposed to go. It is so important. So let's talk about this. So AI-driven marketing platforms like 7th Sense personalize send times, and they increase open rates by 20 to 30%. That leads to more sales. So essentially what they're doing is they're determining based on the audience, based on other factors, when the best way or the best time, date time, that an email should be sent. Now, mind you, this is something that marketers have been trying to figure out with our little brains forever and ever and ever. For a long time, you wanted to do it on Monday. Then it was a Tuesday, then Wednesday, then Friday. Nope, we're back to Tuesday. Oh, you should do it in the morning. No, you should do it in the afternoon. It's the most frustrating thing in the world. And so what AI is doing here is it's basically so much smarter than this that they're looking at when people open and determine when we should be sending that email. So they hold it and send it accordingly. So if you can actually, especially with something like email, we have getting bombarded by email these days. It is crazy how many people I have lost their email unintentionally because they are just stuck in this world of my email box that is its own planet, essentially. And so if we could actually target those email campaigns and make them more effective, and you're increasing that open rate, you're ahead of the game. Then we're also looking at AI ad tools, and ads another thing. That there's an AI tool called adcreative.ai, and it tests and optimizes multiple variations. I've talked about A/B testing, and what A/B testing in the marketing world is that you take identical ads and maybe you change the headline so the headlines read two different things. You only test one thing at a time and you send that out, and then it would come back and you would say, oh, okay, it looks like this headline did better than this headline. But no, the rates still aren't that great. So we're going to use this headline, and this time we're going to change the call to action. So we're going to have identical, same headline this time, and we're going to change the call to action. We send that out. It comes back. We track all those little touch points and see what's performing better than others. Well, the nice thing about AI is it tests it for you, so you can actually set it up so it's analyzing all those data points, and you can test and optimize different ad variations based on your audience. What this does, it reduces your cost per acquisition up to 30%. So the cost per acquisition is how much does it cost for you to get that new customer. And that's a really important number when you're spending money on marketing for your marketing budget, because then you know how much, if you want to grow and acquire this many customers and you know what the cost of acquisition is, you know what a reasonable budget's going to be to get you to that point. And so it's really important to understand those. Now, the other part of that is the content that you're creating to try to attract new clients from a marketing perspective. There are repurposing tools like lately.ai, where it turns long-form content into dozens of high-engaged posts, boost visibility without a lot of extra help or a lot of extra effort. So let me tell you how we're using all these different AI tools. So one thing that used to drive me crazy, I really actually enjoy writing blog posts. I always did, always liked it, but it would take me 4 to 6 hours to write a good blog post. And it was hard because some days I just didn't feel like it. Have you ever stared at a blank sheet, a blank screen, and been like, what do I write? How do I start this out? Well, this sounds just like the other one I just created. So now with AI, not only have we shortened the time of creating a blog post to less than an hour, from 4 to 6 hours, we're actually able to plan, identify the topics that are important to our audience, pull research and statistics along with that, and really build out blog content that is meaningful. Now, this does not mean you're going to put a topic into chat and just say, write a blog post. We are very specific, and that's why it takes us an hour with, okay, here's the research that we've pulled. We use Perplexity.ai for a lot of our research. So I go in there and I play with that and I figure out, okay, what are those statistics that I can really pull out related to this particular topic? And I will tell you, a lot of times I have to go back to it and say, okay, that doesn't sound right. I need more research on that. So it still needs that human factor. You have to understand that. Then I take what I learned there and I put it into chat and I say, this is our topic. This is the audience. This is how we want to help them. This is the length of the blog article. And this is our call to action for this blog article. It goes through and writes the blog article. Then that gives me a great jumping off point where I can start adding those stories into it. I can start looking at it and go, well, that's not quite right. I can adjust it based on what I know about my company and about my listeners and my customers. And so it's really important to have that human. But I've dropped something that took me a really long time down to less than an hour. And not only that, once I write that blog post, then I can take that and I can chop it up. And I can chop it up into social media posts. I can chop it up into building video scripts, whether it be a short video script or a long video script. I can create that from the same content. So I'm using that content over and over and over in different ways. Now, recording videos. It's another way that we're using AI. I record a lot of videos. I record this podcast. I do it in video. But what we do is then put it into Opus AI. We use Descript and Opus. Descript allows us to quickly come up with the basic transcription, because I don't care how many notes or how many scripts I write. I will not stick to the script. It's just, I think of things, so I start talking. But with Descript, it will actually transcribe my entire video. And then if there's something wrong with it, we can use AI to fix something in there. And then also can add captions into that video, which I promise you used to take me forever. Now you can edit as well in Descript, but we typically edit in our Camtasia before you move it over to Descript because you don't have as much control over it. But just those captions alone would take an hour or more just to add in. Because it used to be, I used to have to type those captions. I would listen to the content and type them in. With AI, it does it for me automatically. Now we can run through the transcription and make sure that what it's transcribing and the words that it's saying, it's interpreting them correctly. But that's how we do it. And then the captions are already there. It has saved us unlimited number of times. Then we take that video and we put it into Opus, and it identifies and chops up those key videos, those minute videos, those 90-second videos that we can use for shorts on YouTube. That's been a game changer, absolute game changer, because we are able to take a longer video where at one point we were literally manually having to go through and go, oh, okay, this sounds good. This is a good highlight. Let's go ahead. I'm going to save this. I'm going to cut this and cut this. I'm going to add these little things. It now gets done for us. We're just a two-person team. We outsource some things that aren't within our wheelhouse, but for the most part, it's two full-time employees, and we're doing the work of a much larger team. So instead of having to hire additional staff and spend all that money, we're actually getting a lot more done at a faster rate, and that saves us money. It saves me money as the CEO. I'm also ensuring that all the work that we're doing is going to a point. There's a point to it, that it's being reused and redone and reshared and maximizing that effort. Let's be real. Random marketing tactics aren't going to grow your business. It's like throwing spaghetti at a wall, hoping the spaghetti will stick. If you're tired of spinning your wheels, or in this case, throwing spaghetti, then it's time to take a smarter approach. The Marketing Momentum Workshop is built for small business owners just like you, who need real results, not just more marketing noise. In one 4-hour session, we will work with you to pinpoint the best strategies and create a roadmap for your business that's going to help it grow. Take the first step. Book your free marketing health check now at behindthedesignco.com, and let's get your business moving in the right direction. So the next thing is AI in sales. Now, this is one that we've just been touching upon within our company, and it's one I want to get a little bit more in depth with. We're using a CRM called High Level, but there are other CRM tools like HubSpot and Pipedrive, which predicts which leads are most likely to convert. And it helps businesses focus on the high value prospects. So this is such a big deal. Back when I was in corporate America, like I said, I worked for the S&P. I worked for was Thomson Reuters. It was Thomson and their healthcare data technology division. Worked for a telecommunication company that was Charter, now it's Spectrum. I worked for all these things. And there was one thing that always came through. As the marketing person or marketing team, we're gathering leads, and then we give them to the salespeople. And the salespeople always complained about the leads that we gave them. If you've ever worked in corporate in marketing or sales, you can relate to this. Marketing never gives you quality leads. Sales never follows up on those leads right. That they're losing opportunities. There is an ongoing fight no matter what company you're in. There is always this ongoing fight between marketing and sales. Marketing wasn't doing enough. Sales wasn't doing enough, blah, blah, blah. Well, now we're looking at CRM tools that are smarter than any of us. And here's how it's smarter than us. Basically, it's taking and looking at those leads and identifying which are crap leads that you don't even need to be spending time on and which ones are actually worth something. And then in addition to that, even though that might be a crap lead, it might be somebody who's just looking for some information. You put out a lead magnet, it's interesting to them, they have no intention to buy. You're able to automate so that you're still serving those folks, but you're not necessarily putting them into a direct sales pipeline yet. So you're warming them up without having to personally touch them. That is a really big deal. And it's saving a huge amount of time. I would hate to know what marketing and salespeople are fighting about now, but this actually saves them all this. It qualifies those marketing leads and it helps sales know who I'm really supposed to call and who to waste my time on. Because inevitably, I promise you, the fighting between these two departments, no matter what company I worked for, was always the same. Sales was lazy, marketing wasn't giving enough leads. And so this eliminates that. It just makes me laugh thinking about how much I had to go bat for my team when I was a director of marketing and how much we sat around and complained about sales and how much sales complained about us. It was just ridiculous. Now, the other part and how this equates to small business, now you can do this as well. So if you're a small business, you don't have to waste your time on leads, and we've all been there. You get somebody that fills out a lead form, you're looking at it and they're like, oh, this person lives in a totally different country. We don't even serve that country. It's not a lead. Well, now you have a way to be able to really determine that without you making assumptions that may or may not be true. The other part of, more leads, less effort is a couple different chatbots, one Drift and one ManyChat. So they can actually convert up to 3 times more. Now, let me tell you how they're working. One, they work 24/7 when you're not working or when you're busy running your business. Drift is actually part of SalesLoft, and SalesLoft has a lot of different solutions. But when it comes to Drift, it's essentially a chat bot for your website. Now, I know what you're saying. I hate chat bots. I hate going on there, blah, blah, blah. But you can actually train the chat bot to talk to somebody as if they're talking to a human person and be able to quickly identify whether they need to talk to somebody personally or not. So let me give you an example of this. I talked to a property manager who managed 300 properties. That's a lot of properties. And now, so 300 properties. And what their biggest problem was determining in the middle of the night, they always had to have somebody on call. Somebody had to man the phones, essentially, which is a cell phone, but you had to be alert enough to answer the phone when there's an emergency. But they would get calls for non-emergency things. So they were looking for a solution that would determine if this is an emergency. For instance, if someone lost their keys or got locked out, they would call and say this is an emergency. But based on the lease agreement said that if you lose your keys, you're responsible for your keys. If you lose or get locked out, call locksmith. That's on you. That's not on the leasing company. You lost the keys. You have to pay to find the keys. And so they would get those calls, and they literally would just tell them, you need to call a locksmith. Now, getting a call in the middle of the night that somebody's left their keys out or lost their keys and can't get in, they need to call a locksmith. That has nothing to do with the property manager. What is important for the property manager is a pipe burst and my apartment is flooding. That's an emergency. But you're going to find this strange. What someone else thinks is an emergency isn't always an emergency. And so they needed something to be able to weave those out. And chatbots are great for that. The other tool is ManyChat. And this is engagement for your social posts. So you'll see this all the time, either in video, you've seen it on mine, you've seen it in other people's where like, hey, just put AI help in the comments and I'll send you my great little tool, blah, blah, blah. And it essentially makes it sound like you're just DMing this person directly and they're going to respond to you. But really what's behind that is something called ManyChat. And you can build these campaigns out. So when someone does type in the words that it says, then it automatically sends them a predetermined template with the information that they're requesting. And you're bringing them into your DMs. So then when they ask questions, it either answers or you can then engage them if it goes beyond that. So it's just that first step and you're not going to miss anything. So these little things are really helping save time and save money. So AI in operations. I think this is one of the things that a lot of small businesses don't realize that AI can really help with. I'm going to give you a personal example of this. And it was because I was listening to somebody on YouTube where they made packing checklists. This particular person, very wealthy, successful, I think he's a billionaire, but he literally used chat to create packing lists. He travels so much that he didn't want to think about it, and he created a packing list. And I can't tell you, I travel quite a bit. I can't tell you how many times I've gotten somewhere and think, I forgot this. It never fails. Every trip. There's always something. And do you ever leave your house and you think, I know I'm forgetting something. And it's about the time when there's no turning back and getting it, you realize what you forgot. Anyway, so he went in and chat and he literally created all of his checklists. So whether he's going on a vacation, family vacation, whether he's going on a business trip where he's flying across the country to speak, he had checklists to help him pack every single time. So I started doing that because I realized I needed that same help. Another way I've used chat that has absolutely nothing to do with business is just saying, hey, I have chicken in the refrigerator. I have some cheese. Tell me what I should be making for dinner, because I can't think at the end of the day to figure out what to make for dinner. I love to cook. But after working a full day, I'm exhausted. Just tell me what to cook. Yeah, chat does that. But when we talk about it saving massive cost savings within operations, you can use that same philosophy in your checklists. When a customer calls in, what are the things that we want to get from that customer? What is the information? If you have a checklist, then no matter who answers the phone is gathering that information. If you're sending a package out, I'll give you a great example of this that has been going on for a long time, but in architecture and interior design, we create packages essentially going out to the department, building departments. And so you had to have each, and I promise you, every single building department, every county, every city, every state, completely different. And so what we would do is there would be a list of things, checklist basically, of it. If you send in something for a building permit or approval, these are the things you need to have on that list. Well, way back when, I was working for an architecture firm and I set up all that. That's just simple project management. Okay, this package, where's it at in the process? We're getting all the documentation, we're getting the plans together, but it's not just plans that go in. You have to have this form filled out, or you have to have this report with it. It has to be, sometimes it's a wet stamp, sometimes it's not a wet stamp, sometimes you can submit electronically, sometimes you have to walk it in. It's the craziest thing. And so I developed a whole project management. I used Smartsheet on that. Well, now with AI, not only can we look at what those checklists for your business look like, we can actually create automation within our project management software, which is a time saver because we forget those little steps because we're human. So a couple scheduling tools that also can help you from a time standpoint, and I'm going to give you a caveat on this: Motion and Reclaim AI. So Reclaim AI helps you with modifying your schedule. And so basically it blocks out, it looks at, you tell it what you need. How many hours a day do you want focus time? How long do you need exercise, and what days you want to exercise? What lunches do you want to take? And it basically blocks out chunks of your day automatically for the week. Now, if you're not good at following a schedule, Reclaim AI is not for you, because I've tried it and I'm not always great at following the schedule. So sometimes I'll be like, oh, it's supposed to be focus time. No, I just want to get this other thing done, and I don't follow it. So if you're going to use something like that, but it can actually save you up to 40% time if you are organized enough and will listen and pay attention to, it is time for me to take a break and go to eat my lunch and walk away. Or this is the time that I'm supposed to be focused, heads down. I need to turn off my email. I need to turn off my phone, and I need to only focus on this project. So if you're good at that, Reclaim AI is really good. Now, I have not tried Motion, but it can save valuable time. Another is within bookkeeping, using QuickBooks AI or Bench and having things automatically not just inputted, but also to set up analysis and know if something obscure or weird's coming through. Like, hey, we have this weird thing coming up. Now, from a human standpoint, we used to have to watch those things. We had accounting departments and bookkeepers that would keep our eye. But again, that's human. And so we all are distracted. We all have the opportunity for human error. So AI is really helping us reduce that option of errors. So just looking at some of the solutions that can help you within your bookkeeping or accounting systems. And I know bookkeeping is one of those things that is really hard to pay for as a small business when you're struggling to make revenue. You're like, no, I can go ahead and keep this. Bookkeepers, good bookkeepers, I'm going to preface that and say good bookkeepers are they're just worth it. They're worth paying because they do such an amazing job. And so I see so many times where, and I've been guilty of this, where that's where you save money. Well, if that's you have a couple solutions here from an AI standpoint that might help you. I still think you need a good bookkeeper and a good CPA. Definitely a good bookkeeper, though, and a good CPA now I think about it. Okay, now, what is this really telling us? I've gone on and on about all this AI stuff and all these different things, and you're not hearing anything probably new. We hear AI all the time. We know it's important. It's going to take over the world, but it is a time saver, and it's going to help you with creating better solutions and be able to be more competitive with the larger competitors out there. It's leveling that field. You are serving your clients, and you can still absolutely serve your clients in that one-to-one capacity. This is not intended to take over, but it's just improving that efficiency. I was talking to someone the other day that were implementing AI, and the person that was implementing wasn't really on board with what they were implementing because she was worried that someone called in and got an AI voice that someone would just hang up. She's like, I would just hang up. I've called into some that I've been really weary of, and they end up being actually really awesome, and it worked out just fine. And so I think as more and more people get used to it, and you have better technology from bots, it's going to get easier. Okay, so let's talk about some real case studies. So if marketing is really important and you're finding yourself, I'm not doing enough marketing, or I don't find time for marketing, that's where AI can really help you boost your sales by 40%. So there's a small e-commerce brand that's selling homemade jewelry. So they started using AI-powered email automation and product recommendations. If you're selling a product recommendations are absolutely important. And whether you know it or not, AI's been backing up product recommendations, whether you're watching a movie on Netflix and you're going, oh, you get that recommendation that says you might also like. Yeah, that's all AI stuff. You didn't even know it. So this particular company was sending out the promotions, but they were really getting inconsistent results. And I can relate to this. And so what they started doing is, instead of manually looking at their email list, they started using AI to segment it. And they also created abandoned cart follow-ups, and their conversion rates ended up going up 40%. Abandoned cart, if you're selling a product or even a service really where you're using a cart structure, abandoned cart is when somebody has put something in their cart but they did not finish the purchase. And you can actually set up email automation to say, hey, we noticed you left this in the cart. Did you mean to? If you're not going to, you can put a time on it. Hey, we're going to leave it there for another hour, but if not, we need to go ahead and remove it from your cart so someone else can purchase this. This is a high demand item. You can say it a nicer way than I just said. And it actually reminds people, because what happens is a lot of people just get distracted and they forget to hit buy. Another one you can do is increasing your lead conversions. So I saw where a real estate agency was using ManyChat to automate their lead qualification. This is huge because what happens is that agents will have to manually respond to every inquiry. And not all inquiries are actual inquiries. Just because somebody calls, it doesn't mean they're really serious about selling their house, or they're not really serious about buying their house. And so what this real estate company did was they used chatbot to pre-qualify those leads. And that instantly, and that increased by 3 times their booked appointments. So basically using AI chatbot to qualify that lead rather than having somebody call. This is a pretty easy thing that you can implement. How we can really get those leads. That goes back to my conversation about sales and marketing never getting along. We get this all the time as a small business, where you have people that fill out forms or do this and that. I even have people that will schedule meetings with me and never show up. That one's the most bizarre to me. And I've gotten pretty good at being able to identify those people and know when they're not going to show up. But what I worry about is, am I playing an emotional decision and thinking that person isn't going to? But with AI, I can actually set it up, which I do, of qualifying them ahead of time or reminding them of meetings, going that extra step beyond the reminder. Another one I saw, a consulting firm was using AI to schedule with their scheduling. Now, we do this all the time as well. But if you were manually scheduling time, if you were going back, and you know what's sad about this is, I used to get people's scheduling link, and it is very impersonal. I'm fully on board that it's impersonal. But if it's somebody I actually want to meet and they send me a scheduling link, it is so much easier to figure out a time to get together. So that can really save a lot of time for your company. But the big point of it here is, with AI, is how are you going to work smarter? How are you going to get more done with AI? And you have to sit down and think about this. And I'm going to tell you exactly how you need to start implementing and figuring out, where does AI fit in? Now, this is what my company does for some of our clients is we call it an AI readiness assessment. And it's looking at where in your system is broken down. So the first step before you implement AI is identify within your system where you're having the biggest problem. What's the most time-consuming, money-grabbing, out-of-control thing within your company? Let me give you an example. I was talking to a design build company. I think I've mentioned this on another episode, where they would get an order for something. They design a property. Now it's time to purchase the items for that particular house or whatever. They go to that's called procurement, and they would have to enter that information in 3 different systems, and none of the systems talk to each other. So it took manually going and putting into this system, and then putting in this system, and then putting into this system. That is absolutely an opportunity for human error. Not anything that anyone's doing on purpose, but because they had 3 different systems that weren't talking to each other, they were wasting a lot of time unnecessarily. And so you have to identify where the biggest time or money wastes are within yours. Where are the repetitive tasks that could be eliminated? Where are there areas where you're leaking revenue or leaking hours within your day? Now, the next thing you're going to do is you're going to choose and identify, research the products that are going to fit within your company. Now, you already are using software. So it's an important aspect of, one, do you want to continue using the software you're already using? And if so, what will integrate with that? Every single software that I look at, I now look at what part of my system I currently have does it integrate with? Or is this a big enough pain problem that we need a whole new system, which is a whole pain problem in itself when you're switching systems. But what tools could potentially help us in those areas? Is it marketing? Is it sales? Is it operations? What does that look like? So you're going to choose the AI tools, and then you're going to start small. You're going to start small and measure the impact. Test things out. I test AI tools out all the time, partly because that's where my business is. We have a marketing, and then we have our AI arm, and we help companies with implementing AI. So I like testing things. I like talking about them. I'm very fascinated with everything related to AI. And so I'm constantly tracking what it took, what the benefits were, how it's saving me time, because I'm not going to keep using it if it's not easy to use and if it's not actually saving us money or making us money. Then once you identify, yeah, this is going well, then you can scale up. Also remember, if you have a team that you are working with, you're expecting them to use these tools, you have to train them appropriately. You can't just throw it out there and say, hey, go use this. It does not work. You have to get the buy-in from your employees. And I know you're thinking, but my employees work for me. Yeah, well, it doesn't always work that way. So remember, implementing AI strategically can actually have a real financial benefit. Now, I hope in this episode it really opened your eyes of the profit potential of AI. I'd love to hear your thoughts. So if you're listening to this, DM me on LinkedIn. You can also leave comments if you're watching on YouTube. But I want to know what your biggest takeaway was from listening to this. And I also want to know from you, are you using AI in what way? Or if you're not, what is that fear that's holding you back? I'm not actually kidding. When I talk to people, everyone's fascinated by it, but they're not ready to actually do anything about it. And so when I come across companies that are like, oh yeah, we're using AI. I just talked to one last week, a restoration company, and they are using it in every aspect of their business. Now, one of the challenges they were having, of course, is having employee buy-in, which is why I gave you that little tidbit earlier. But I was amazed. I was like, this is awesome. You guys are light years ahead of everyone else. And one thing I didn't mention is that AI is going to make you more competitive. You're going to actually make more money by implementing more efficient systems. All right, so if you are ready to go there and talk about AI, jump on my website, behindthedesignco.com, and you can set up an AI 30-minute meeting with me, and we can talk about how it fits within your business. No sales pitch or anything. Let's just talk about it and see where you're having the biggest challenges. Now, next week, we're going to talk about a powerful topic, which is related to the fluff. I recorded the video, the podcast that you're going to see, or video if you watch it on the video, last week when I realized after going to a conference, the amount of mindset, energy, fluff that is out there is all consuming these days. And if you're not careful, it is 100% uplifting, completely believe in energy. But if you're not careful, you spend more time worrying about the mindset and that aspect than actually taking action and getting things done. So listen to that one. If you feel like this has really helped you, this episode, this podcast, please make sure you subscribe or share it with someone else you think might really want to hear some of the things that we're talking about. And thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you on the next Hobby to Profitability. Thank you for listening to the Hobby to Profitability podcast with Jacqueline Green. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, or share it with a friend. You can learn more about Behind the Design at our website at behindthedesignco.com, and be sure to connect with me on LinkedIn or subscribe to the Behind the Design channel on YouTube for more great business growth strategies. Now, I'll see you next time.